friends, and welcome back to another reading from Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year and are ready for an amazing 2025. Let us begin at chapter 18. You will remember the peach had rolled away, the nasty Aunt Sponge and Spiker had been killed by the peach rolling away. And James had met his new companions. Without further ado, let's get on with the reading. Out at sea, a minute later, they were out in the open, standing on the very top of the peach, near the stem, blinking their eyes in the strong sunlight and peering nervously around. What happened? Where are we? But this is impossible, unbelievable, terrible. I hope I told you we were bobbing up and down, the ladybird said. We're in the middle of the sea, cried James. And indeed they were. A strong current and a high wind had carried the peach so quickly away from the shore that already the land was out of sight. All around them lay the vast black ocean, deep and hungry. Little waves were bibbling against the sides of the peach. But how did it happen? Sorry, just trying to get the best focus of the book so you could maybe read along with me if you like, or just close your eyes for sleep. But how did it happen? They cried. Where are the fields? Where are the woods? Where is England? Nobody, not even James, could understand how in the world a thing like this could have come about. Ladies and gentlemen, the old green grasshopper said, trying very hard to keep the fear and disappointment out of his voice, I am afraid that we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. Awkward, cried the earthworm, my dear old grasshopper. We are finished. Every one of us is about to perish. I may be blind, you know, but that much I can see quite clearly. Off with my boots, shouted the centipede. I cannot swim with my boots on. I cannot swim at all, cried the ladybird. Nor can I, wailed the glowworm. Nor I, said the earthworm. None of us three can swim a single stroke. But you won't have to swim, said James calmly. We are floating beautifully, and sooner or later a ship is bound to come along and pick us up. They all stared at him in amazement. Are you quite sure that we are not sinking? The ladybird asked. Of course I'm sure, answered James. "Go and look for yourselves." They all ran over to the side of the beach and peered down to the water below. "The boy is quite right," the old green grasshopper said. "We are floating beautifully now. We must all sit down and keep perfectly calm. Everything will be all right in the end." "What absolute nonsense!" cried the Earth. "I'm so sorry about this, my friends. For some reason my videoing suddenly stopped, so let's continue. Everything will be all right in the end." "What absolute nonsense!" cried the earthworm. "Nothing is ever all right in the end, and, well, you know it." "Poor earthworm," the ladybird said, whispering in James's ear. "He loves to make everything into a disaster. He hates to be happy. He is only happy when he is gloomy. He hates to be happy. He is..." Just did that one, sorry. Now, isn't that odd? But then I suppose just being an earthworm is enough to make a person pretty gloomy, don't you agree? "If this beach is not going to sink," the earthworm was saying, "and if we are not going to be drowned, then every one of us is going to starve to death instead. Do you realize that we haven't had a thing to eat since yesterday morning?" "By golly, by golly, he's right," cried the centipede. "For once earthworm is right." "Of course I'm right," the earthworm said, "and we're not likely to find anything around here either. We shall get thinner and thinner and thirstier and thirstier, and we shall all die a slow and grisly death from starvation. I am dying already. I am slowly shrivelling up for want of food. Personally, I would rather drown." "But good heavens, you must be blind," said James. "You know very well I'm blind," snapped the earthworm. I didn't mean that," said James quickly. "I'm sorry, but can't you see that?" "See?" shouted the poor earthworm. "How can I see if I am blind?" James took a deep, slow breath. "Can't you realize," he said patiently, "that we have enough food?" "Here to last us for weeks and weeks." "Where?" they said. "Where?" "Why, the beach, of course. Our whole ship is made of food." "Jumping Jehoshaphat," they cried. "We never thought of that." "My dear James," said the old green grasshopper, laying a front leg affectionately on James's shoulder, "I don't know what we'd do without you. You are so clever. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saved again." "We are most certainly not," said the earthworm. "You must be crazy. You can't eat the ship, the only thing that is keeping us up. We shall starve if we don't," said the centipede. "And we shall drown if we do," cried the earthworm. "Oh dear," said the old green grasshopper. and weeks, of course it would, but let's not go making lots of holes over the deck. I think we'd better simply scoop it out of that tunnel over there, the one that we've just come up by. An excellent idea, said the ladybird. What are you looking so worried about, Earthworm? The centipede asked. What's the problem? The problem is, the Earthworm said, the problem is, well, the problem is that there is no problem. Everyone burst out laughing. Cheer up, Earthworm, they said. Come and eat. And they all went over to the tunnel entrance and began scooping out great chunks of juicy golden-coloured peach flesh. Oh, marvellous, said the centipede, stuffing it into his mouth. Delicious, said the old green grasshopper. Just fabulous, said the glowworm. Oh my, said the ladybird primly. What a heavenly taste. She looked up at James and she smiled, and James smiled back at her. They sat down on the deck together, both of them chewing away happily. You know, James, the ladybird said, up until this moment I have never in my life tasted anything except those tiny little green flies that live on rose bushes. They have a perfectly delightful flavour, but this peach is even better. Isn't it glorious? Miss Spider said, coming over to join them. Personally, I had always thought that a big, juicy quart in the web blue bottle was the finest dinner in the world, until I tasted this. What a flavour, the centipede cried. It's terrific. There's no, because I personally have tasted all the finest foods in the world. Whereupon the centipede, with his mouth full of peach, and with juice running down all over his chin, suddenly burst into song. I've eaten many strange and scrumptious dishes in my time, like jellied gnats and dandy prats and earwigs cooked in slime, and mice and rice. They're really nice when roasted in their prime, but don't forget to sprinkle them with just a pinch of grime. I've eaten fresh mud burgers by the greatest cooks there are, and scrambled dregs and stink bugs, eggs and hornets stewed in tar, and bales of snails and lizards' tails, and beetles by the jar. A beetle is improved by just a splash of vinegar. I often eat boiled sloppages. They're grand when served beside minced doodlebugs and curried slugs. And have you ever tried mosquitoes' toes and fish roe? Most delicately fried. The only trouble is they disagree with my inside. I'm mad for crispy wasp stings surely you'll agree. A plate of soil with engine oil's a super recipe. I hardly need to mention that it's practically free. For dinner on my birthday, shall I tell you what I chose? Hot noodles made from poodles on a slice of garden hose and a rather smelly jelly made of armadillo's toes. The jelly is delicious, but you have to hold your nose. Now comes the centipede declared, the burden of my speech. These foods are rare beyond compare, some right out of reach, but there's no doubt I'd go without 1,000,000 plates of each for one small mite, one tiny bite of this fantastic peach. Everyone was feeling happy now. The sun was shining brightly out of a soft blue sky, and the day was calm. The giant peach, with the sunlight glinting on its side, was like a massive golden ball sailing upon a silver sea. I hope you enjoyed that, my friends. I hope it really helps you to sleep. I thought you might enjoy a shorter video today. I will be doing some rambles soon, and it is really good to be here again. I absolutely love doing this. This is the best, the absolute, it is so relaxing. Please like and subscribe, and also tell me if there are any videos or books you would like me to read, or things you would like me to try that you think you will enjoy. This channel is also a learning curve for me, and I'm loving being part of the ASMR community. I absolutely love it. So